Older workers can bring incredible experience and knowledge to a workplace, but many seniors would argue getting into a new job can be a real challenge. Frequently, employers are looking for younger employees who are willing to work more hours for less money, who are more tech savvy and approach their work in a more modern fashion. But there are ways that senior workers can make themselves attractive to potential employers. Laura Poisson, she is the president of Clear Rock, and she's joining us. Laura, great to have you along today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
You bet. Tell me, when you talk about older workers, what's the age group we're talking about specifically?
I'm referring to workers that are 50 and over predominantly.
Okay. And, these workers go out there and they begin to interview, and you have found that the trend is that they believe they're not being hired because of their age, and that's not necessarily the case.
So I want to be clear that it is true that ageism is alive and well, and that certainly is the case. But what we have found is that there are plenty of wonderful employment opportunities for people that have experience in life and in their profession. And the way that we help them get connected with that is really to understand who the audience is and who it isn't. For example, we encourage people to really think about, when it comes to marketing yourself, you have every single person, whether you're over 50 or under, has to really look at what are my marketable skills and strengths, what problems can I solve, and who needs me to solve those problems. And then orient yourself and advertise yourself and market yourself toward organizations that are going to appreciate what you have. So for older workers, what do they have? They have a lot of life experience. They've been through change and evolution. They have built up skills and have had to reinvent themselves over and over again. So one of the things that we help people to understand is you need to be able to overcome some of the stereotypes that people have about older workers preemptively. For example, sometimes people believe that older workers are afraid of technology. So one of the things that we encourage people to do is to be very technologically savvy. Make sure that on your resume you don't have your home address and your phone number anymore, but you have your mobile address and your mobile phone number, and you have your LinkedIn profile. You want to preempt any unconscious bias even around those kinds of things, and be able to speak to technology adaptation that you've done, things that you've learned, new software you've picked up, new process you've picked up. So it's really about leveraging the strength that older workers have and the experience they have in certain industries and certain jobs are really looking for that.
It is clear, that maybe older workers aren't presenting themselves in the best light that they possibly can. But as you said in the very beginning, ageism does exist. So talk to me a little bit about how, as a worker, when I walk in, I know the difference. Have I presented myself well, or am I being discriminated against because there's a younger person here who may be threatened by my experience, maybe my salary level, and my age?
Well, I think one thing that we know is we don't always know what we're walking into. So in every, let's say out of 10 interviews you go on, you might experience what you think is ageism 2 out of those 10 times. We need to look at helping people do what they can about the parts they can control. So we can't control what someone else on the other side is going to do with the information we share. But what we can do is help position ourselves as the best solution to their problem. And so, yes, we have to be able to demonstrate that we, in fact, have relevant experience that can immediately address the issue that they have, and showcase the fact that by having this wider breadth of experience, you've seen things and can anticipate problems, and be able to back those up with examples. The other thing is by how you show up physically. You want to make sure that your eyeglass frame, for example, was purchased in this administration and not back in the Clinton administration, for example. It is a giveaway that you're not necessarily up to date. So a little bit's about how you present yourself, a little bit's about your energy, and most of it is about how you tie your confidence, your ability to the job and the problem they have at hand. No matter what you're interviewing for, you have to be the number one candidate to get the job. The more you can dig in and use your experience to ask questions, the more you have that you can showcase directly in the area where they are looking for. And one of the most immediate concerns people express to me upon learning of their job losses, who's going to hire me now? I have been at this one organization for a long time. I don't know anything about how to look for a job. And they express real concern that they either aren't hireable or that they aren't going to be able to find anything soon enough. And those are real fears. And we talk about how we are going to help them position themselves to the audience that is interested. Part of it is about, again, looking at what you have to offer. Where are the problems in the market and how do you solve them? And we find many successful people finding great jobs as older workers. And you can't forget that oftentimes older workers are also making more money. And money is also a factor. The single most contributing factor to someone's job search length is how much money they make. And that is correlated to how senior are they?
Sure.
And so how prevalent are those particular jobs in your industry? So those factors, they're real and they exist. So it does take people longer, and oftentimes more senior people, higher paid people are also older. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it.
Laura, you have had some great information for some of our older listeners, and I very much appreciate you joining us today. Laura Poisson. By the way, a new study claims about 56% of Americans over the age of 50 have faced or could face employer-driven job loss. That's according to ProPublica and the Urban Institute.